There is much pressure on a Ghana Bar Association. Afenyo Markin say the kind every breaking news be Emma say or attack judges or insult judges Emma or Sanso to be echo akesifo no Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni abusuya ye the whole latest updates Sanso brem. Ye person what story na say no ain't ne share that a publish and I say share that the Afenyo Markins in full press conference no the bremo a gossip politics TV so unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit it on the notification bells and any updates be dropping on so once ebe to me akabi Felix Ofosukwashi edin sembi ababe to jana and somebody ababe to jana ebusuya. There is much heavy pressure on a Ghana Bar Association and Ghana Bar Association ebusuya sisi an enam pressure na elko almost no Afenyo Markins likely say yebefre Afenyo Markins aba empaying for him and na say Afenyo Markins yebe punishing na wasanso yasanso cite no contempt of court. Afenyo Markins na nu mukasa eno no ankasa kire say ono no omopa omon site no contempt of court na sisi ano enam pressure elko Ghana Bar Association so ntino Afenyo Markin yebe punish Afenyo Markin ne yasanso cite no contempt of court after say oba ebe attack judiciary of Republic of Ghana esanso ye Chief Justice opemu na ankasa na Afenyo Markins esanso to be emane na asanso no Afenyo Markins obetumi akọ in prison 7 weeks and as 1 month. Mummy akona yankonko ti Felix Ofosukwashi na Felix Ofosukwashi nsema okanu ocha Ghana Bar Association omakomo anu atum because oshe past years during NDC in opposition abusuya Ghana Bar Association just one make it word just NDC for make it word Ghana Bar Association ombeba na omo ababe release statements but yeah share Afenyo Markins ni statements na or debe to Ghana almost 24 hours ni Ghana Bar Association and your margin say omo the statements be a political highway so I know and I'm a Felix Ofosukwashi Edrisa and Semino Ababe to Yamami Corner, Young Concotti and some course. So unsubscribe, subscribe and I hit it on the notification bell and any updates be about dropping on once every to me Akabi Midamase.
Enti enano ye fair wa in relation to a post you made about an hour ago, also I have long dismissed the Ghana Bar Association as an MPP grouping. If it were not so, the intolerable abuse of this judge by the minority leader would have elicited an immediate, uncompromising response. They have been known to respond quickly to far less offensive commentary by non-NPP members. Alas, one of their own, an MPP lawyer, has abused a judge, so they have been loudly silent. What insufferable duplicity. Honorable Nawe, enye Muamu MPP and this politics now will transfer the GBA for us.
Oh, yes. Now, we know, we know, I said, as somebody a can, no more kind this MPP woman. That's what I'm about to say. Obedient to me, can MPP in this moment in because, and you can go back. Say, yeah, can't amanukua. I suffer historical judicial hostility at NDC. Let me about 30 different examples of things. Now we name it. And yes, I producing a better here. There's no political party that has benefited from judicial bias as in MPP. At least since the year 2000 and now 2001, when they have done everything to skew judicial pronouncements in their favor. Yeah, NDC4, we've endured it all this while. Almost here, Bemun and Sayano. Can't be a few more tends to create the impression that suddenly the entire judicial system necessary and that assembly comma or more it simply means they say particular judges are politicians in Timomoyaka. I thought you know me, I am on record. Some particular case involving Abronye. I'm on record to have publicly disagreed with the judge. A black judge ruling say another was a portion of the judge ruling or can say Abronye is not equal to others, and after offense or say some people are more equal than others. I publicly said that was a very bizarre pronouncement. Any say Jina, it's a very own Abronye. If I make us an Abronye probably did the matem, but I still insisted that the judge had not treated Abronye fairly, despite all the political disagreements. I have also said, me, as far as I'm concerned, the Odin Kasemwa a day oye neighbor bread judge be and I said a bet threatening judge life and now a day basabasa yet na atoto yaso nwe asia nipa no enisi edin ko dina court and I said ko tifiase. That is my belief. I'm very liberal on that principle. If I won't support anybody being sent to jail for merely criticizing a system, either judicial, executive, or legislative. But there's a difference between disagreeing with a judge, pointing out aspects of law, which is a judge, you know, when this so, and I say, judge, you know, what from, and I am rare, and then one fine year, Juma, and I say, where you attention, and directly abusing a judge in a manner that Honorable Afenyo Markin did. And indeed, Honorable Afenyo Markin, and I've told him that he went way too far in his kind, you know, because apart from having the freedom to criticize the judge, no crime, there's a recourse. You can go to a superior court to set aside judge and audience. Lawyer.
That's true.
And it has been done many, many times in Ghana. But to set a judge aside, single him out, and say you disrespect him, you disrespect, that is way too much. That is frontal abuse of a particular judge. Now, the MOA say, Ghana Bar Association. You see, for many years, position I'm just together. I've heard it many times. And that's the first time, and I'll continue to say it. Okay? This is an association in 2008.
Asempa FM.
The president, and if you knew some if you could so because he criticized the judge who jailed Chachikata. For criticizing the judge for jailing Chachikata, almost two president at so. There's a Mahama. There were many instances in the opposition. They criticized the judiciary. They were quick to come out to denounce him. In fact, in one instance there, almost on a platform, Emma both Attorney General Gofedami, any President Akufo-Addo, Emma attacking President Mahama for expressing disquiet about judicial outcomes. Yet, as someone at the totally abusing the judge, no matter they remain silent, deathly silent. As someone says, you are abusing public confidence in the association because for many years, the posture they've adopted, they say, first of all, they defend the judiciary, and I feel so. Matters relating to human rights violations that they are so almost.
Yes.
In fact, about 30 years ago, Greater Accra Regional Branch of Ghana Bar Association, lawyers at Greater Accra, they withdrew their services because the Supreme Court held one of their members in contempt for attacking the judiciary. They've done all of this in the past. Yet, by people also they are not common to see no evil, hear no evil, say no evil. If I think what they have done is unprincipled, and that they need to be called out. I see a man, no clear at that one. They did the way the Ghana Bar Association operates is not fair, it's not balanced. If they are a partisan association, so then there's no public expectation of them to perform any function beyond supporting the MPP. But things will go back. I can't send the and Tampana no be a thing. I can say to any panel, I condemn no. But when it involves the MPP, no much they drag their feet. Okay, Obi, I told me as I know. That narrative and I say MPP before they back and trying to create the impression that suddenly there's some abuse of freedoms and that the judiciary suddenly is in bed with the NDC. No, I didn't want to go back to record these instances. But MPP, Afenyo Martin, no Martin in our common. What did they not do to people who express themselves under MPP? Meno Kaseson said, Bobi Ansa used to host program now, who hosts this year.
Yes. Yes.
In 2021 or 2022, Bobi Ansa Koka said, a year, then First Lady, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, and Vice President at the time, Stamia Baumia, Omakwaje Asasibu or Cantonment Sahano Moody Sidani. Because of that, Bobi Ansa was picked up and taken to court. Make us say the matter is still in court. The matter is still in court. Say. Tell me bongo ideas.
Minimum.
Abraham Tebi or what we are.
Sure.
Okay, can cancel. Or can't send the family, Rebecca Akufo-Addo. Only for they didn't take him to court, so they kidnapped him for days. State security, they kidnapped him for days for saying something about the first lady at the time. Mensa Thompson, Okoka say, Omantonima, the presidential jet, a 2 coin. I don't know, Mampano. Oman was only Muchi, Uncle Shaban Kukum. And I could go on and on and on and on for the things that they did to people who express views in this country. How is it that suddenly, almost Bemu, not the same and Rana, Omodewi amount for no, you are then suddenly they are insulting and attacking judges. Okay, Muntiatre, Obi, Muntiatre, were they not sentenced to 4 months imprisonment for abusing judges? Now,
yes.
For abusing judges. The owner of Radio Good at the time, Mr. Atuahwe, and now on the there, he didn't even know who was appearing on his program that day. You buy one for a fine of 30,000 cities because of some of the radio stations. And yet, before no more say, Oklahoma say, Adia, court near at the papa. Did they not jubilate over it? Among condemned those of us who insisted, say, the sentence was a bit excessive. Among condemned. If no craning and young people complain, tell the question and other. Me, I've told you, say, I don't believe to be cast some effort to need more. That necessarily should lead to prosecution and after imprisonment, unless it breaches the peace and after it threatens the life of the individual concerned. But can young people say same? What is their position? Last week was about my issue statement. Claiming say free speech is being criminalized. And I'm a Abra Nigeria, Obi Khan, Nigeria, once a more. Yachi Nipano, make us say assembly courts will be answered. What was Dr. Banuel's position? Sabi Oka, so, in all fairness and honesty, can you say them before can a genuine manner? So, we need to be fair. But now, more journalists, I say, I tell you by an NDC, not any NDC MPP assembly. Okay? I think I'm asking that all complaining. Did you not file a case and within 2 hours, the full panel of the Supreme Court was assembled? That's a mediation in Ghana. Are there no cases that Aqua Quarter, we in the NDC have expressed reservations about them? And before it still say it was right. So for as long as courts rule, there will be disagreements. But nobody can frontally disrespect a judge in the manner that Afenyo did. Ghana Bar Association, that cannot not too. Because there are people in society here, they have less responsibility. I'm not someone a work from Afenyo who have been punished. Or any Babani or represent our SYZ TV. Or can't say, Nana Akufo-Addo apparently Supreme Court to the MPP for. But Fedame cited him for contempt at the High Court. I mean, it with you 14 days, 2 weeks. Obi, I can't make a boy.
Yeah, but honorable, I mean, all the instances now, one manner. There were instances at the NDC that in opposition complained about, based on which the NDC promised to reset this country. Resetting, in my understanding, means you do something materially different from what you complained about. If you do the same things and I reset, now with justification is MPP for also that is some way. And
Obi, Attorney General was Dominic Ayimi, or you be in a court, a prosecution. To say about Fedame, for saying anything against the judiciary. Say about power.
No, sir, Attorney General delegated powers, so the Biama police, and the police are prosecuting people.
Question. But you see,
yes.
A judge, the assembly, not the judge rules, president of the country, Attorney General, cannot say, said my judge, and enforce it. William said, in a Abonye case, the prosecution actually opposed one of the denials of bail, sir. And yet, the judge went ahead to remand Abonye. So, you must speak to that. So that it doesn't create the impression, say, the MP before, There are instances also where members of the public have complained about what some have said about them. There's an instance of a journalist, of a BB, a former NCA board chairman who former NCA board chairman only a member of this government went to complain, and then the police took the person to court. But it will be announced, and I said it will be broadcast to say the police have taken somebody to court. It was not at the instance of government. So we must also limit. Anytime you do the courts on anything they say, I take the trouble to find out what has happened. And almost 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with government. Like I don't believe that anybody should be taken to court for anything they say. But we must look into the matter separately and not be quick to lump parties together to make excuses for misconduct.
Yeah, but the challenge is from the instances you refer to under the NPP, most of those instances, the police that made arrests, the police prepared charge sheet and for echo court. They could also have argued, say it had nothing to do with government, because police for charge sheet, Omunina referred to Section 208 of Act 29, Omu referred to the section in the Electronic Communications Act, which some have even argued, say, under a reset, we should be even talking about how do we get those things out of our statute books. That conversation is not even being had.
That is fine. We can have that conversation.
Yes.
But when the first lady, second lady, will be cut now, the case is pending now. Can the vice president, whose wife was the beneficiary of that action, come and condemn the same judiciary for holding somebody for saying something? No. So, and one thing I make actually said, the question is just political posturing. And yes, MP before Mujidomu candidate. But I know that in Kenya, the material issue of the minority that may reason, who can tell me, say, what I have said is not fair? Based on what the GBA has done in this country, Obi, there's even an association of judges and magistrates.
Yeah, there is.
Meaning, what I said, there was a time, Dr. Kwabineji of blessed memory, not your NDC chairman. By no can say, there are several ways to kill a cat.
To kill a cat, yes.
Yeah, idiomatic expression, can be everyday expression. For saying that, both the GBA and the Association of Judges and Magistrates publicly condemned him. So, if the GBA is criticized for keeping quiet about this instant case, is it a fair criticism or not?
No, it is. It is fair, except to say, sir, the same GBA. Okay, you are calling on the GBA to criticize him because Afenyo Markin is a member of the GBA, right?
It is not just that. There are people among young members of the GBA. GBA has condemned them for saying things about the judiciary. Afenyo, apart from the fact, so yeah, GBA members, as a minority leader, a very prominent person in our society. Into the level of responsibility expected of him is much higher than some of the journalists, Addo, Omanka Kansem, about judiciary, who have actually been punished by the same judiciary. So it is not just because of his membership, but the fact that this one is a clear affront to the judiciary.
Yeah, but would that not be you inviting pressure onto the GBA when you know very well, sir? Even at time amumu opposition, no, enye insema amusumo kafa judge for hunyina GBA eba be condemn here. And this thing about unanimous 11 or say unanimous 7, Obi a women's organizer, Osno Mame, it came from leading members of your party. The GBA did not condemn.
Obi, with leading members. You see, local social media now. There are so many things that NPP followers are saying. You cannot hold the NPP for it. However, if Dr. Bamiaka, minority leader, and office holders of the NPP can, it becomes a position of the party that you can hold on to. So, Obi control unanimous FCR. The GDA cannot go about speaking to everything written everywhere. But it depends on who has said it. In this instance, we are talking a minority leader. No small, minority leader.
Okay.
A leader of parliament. I was also a prominent member of the GBA or an officer of the court. And yet, up to now, within. So there must be consistency. So I need who say, that's all I'm calling for.
Very well. Felix,
but after the fact that people should be able to express themselves freely, me, I endorse it fully, but kind of publicly. In fact, if the woman in India go back, what can I say, John? I think 2012 or so, after elections, no.
Yes.
He was called before the Supreme Court. And so for Car Assembly, I cannot repeat it here. After that, I think his sentence was commuted, and I said he was pardoned. If I'm not mistaken, even though he was convicted.
Yes, he was. He was pardoned.
Yes. I publicly said so. I didn't think that it was necessary for us to go that left. I said so. Then that position, no, in terms of free speech.
No. To be fair to you, yes, you've been consistent in that position.
Yes,
but
so
I'm
calling for consistency on the part of those who expressed disquiet in the past.
But I think one thing you also can do now that you are in a position of power is to probably initiate conversations around what do we do with Section 208, which is still in our statute books. Because at the end of the day, as long as it is there, the police is empowered to enforce same.
Even the entire constitution of Ghana is undergoing amendment. In fact, last week, I announced that Cabinet was considering the position paper, draft position paper.
Committee. Okay.
In fact, many can say we've done the first part, but a lot will be engineering. That's also in the weeks coming. So, as for amendments of laws, if it ever becomes an issue, repeal these two sections, me personally, I will not be opposed to it.
Very well.
It doesn't mean say there will not be safeguards to ensure say, for instance, people can say, we are Kenya, Faba, Nafoku, Kenya, I don't know say you can't tolerate it.
And they were across the line, yes. Yes.
So maybe it is in those instances that we take action. But anything below that will express an opinion, whether harshly or mildly, about the working of an arm of government and our public official there, I think we should pass. That is my personal view. And I've said it publicly. I've also said it privately for those who know me.
Very well.
Okay, abusia we and some so our political highway so Felix Fosukwache and I attend in car on Ghana Bar Association or the Moma in the easy crab. But I must say, some of Japan, Cocoa and some way, and my gossip politics TV so, but I must say.